We appreciate all the Boston Bruins supporters on the channel. I think over the last number of months, we've had about 5 to 10,000 hits for the different archive stories about some of the highlights, the lowlights, and the lowlights of the Bruins. But in this case, we're talking about somebody who was undrafted, a longest shot to make the NHL and the Bruins, and did play in one playoff game where he served a bench minor, and so therefore he's in statistics forever. So today we're talking about Chris Hayes, born in Noranda, Quebec, in 1946, born August 24th, so he's a Virgo. The Canadian former pro hockey player, again most notable for playing that single contest in the 72 Stanley Cup semifinals for the eventual Stanley Cup champion Bruins. His sole NHL action. Now he grew up in Chapeau, Quebec, a small village bordering on the Ottawa Valley. Hayes spent 3 years playing junior hockey for Oshawa from 65 to 68. He left hockey for 2 years, but returned in the 71 season to play for Loyola College in Montreal of the then CIAU. He then turned pro, playing in 4 pro leagues for 5 different teams in a 4-year span. Now, while skating for the Oklahoma City Blazers of the CHL in 72, the 5'10", 108-pound left winger was called up due to injuries to play again for the Bruins. He skated in one contest, Game 3 of Boston's semifinal series in St. Louis versus the Blues. Boston won that game 7-2. Hayes recorded no points and no penalty minutes, but he did serve, again, a Boston bench penalty for too many men on the ice. He never played in the NHL again. Although Hayes was entitled to have his name engraved in a Stanley Cup for having appeared in a playoff game, he was not. Hayes was not re-signed by a Boston organization after the end of the 74 season and played 4 contests in the NHL in 76, his final pro season. But in April 2018, due to pressure within management, Hayes finally received his Stanley Cup ring after Boston's team president Cam Neely learned about Hayes' situation and wanted to remedy the situation. Now, what's really a long shot for Hayes, he got his major start in the OHA, not in their A League, but their B League. He played with the Pembroke Ironmen in 1964. Now, 65 and 66 with Oshawa, scored 16 goals in 88 games, but had a very good Memorial Cup in 66, 24 points in 14 playoff contests with 10 goals. Back with Oshawa in 67, he had 3 goals, 11 assists for 14 points. Now, 3 seasons with Loyola, but his best, 4 seasons with Loyola, but his best one was 71 with 80 points in 34 games, 75 points in the season before. Now in Oklahoma City in 72, before the call-up, he had 53 points in 72 games, and also played in the CHL postseason with 9 points in the 6 games. Now 73 with the Boston Braves, he had 28 points in 63 games, and 7 points in the 10 playoff contests. Now with the Albuquerque Six Guns of the CHL, he had 48 points in 71 games, including 20 goals. And again, last pro season with the Mohawk Valley Comets of the great NAHL with 3 points in 4 games, including 1 goal. CHL totals were pretty impressive: 101 points in 143 games, and 177 minutes in penalties, and 9 points in 6 playoff contests with 5 goals. Now, I first heard about Chris Hayes actually with that Cam Neely announcement. I think it was more than fair that Seabass would give recognition. Now, we all know the rules about the playoffs. If you play one game in the playoffs, and I think it's automatic with one game in the final, your name should be on the cup because you are part of that active roster. I know this for a fact because there's been some controversy through the years of Montreal Canadian players and Toronto Maple Leaf players either being on the cup because he only played in the playoffs or not being on the cup despite playing in the playoffs. So it's 6 of one and a half dozen of the other. But coming from B-level OHA, playing with a very important team, but not too many players from Loyola have gone to NHL and given up hockey for a couple of years. It's amazing. The natural talent, never drafted. So that's the story of the great Chris Hayes. If you like what we're doing here, we're a Boston Bruins vintage podcast. Let us know what a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.